Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Chris here from Mixdown.online, and today I want to answer a question I got from one of you guys not too long ago. So it goes like this. Hello, I have this problem. I bought the UR242 from Steinberg and I run this application called DSP FX Mix. I am trying to run it at 192 kilohertz, and when I want to activate the effect to use compressor and equalizer, it says not enough effects resources. But when I run it at 96 kilohertz, there's no problem. Please help. Alright, so let me help you on this. Alright, but first, if you're new here on this channel, consider subscribing by clicking the subscribe button below and the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And don't forget to share and to like this video. Okay, let's jump in. Now, you're saying that you are working with the UR242 from Steinberg. Now, I've reviewed that interface a year ago, I believe. I don't have it right now with me. It was only for the review, so I don't have access to the DSP FX Mix either. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to troubleshoot that problem within the interface itself and your system, but I'm going to help you with a very, very easy solution to fix your problem. If you get that message saying not enough effects resources when recording at 192 kilohertz, the solution is very simple. Don't record at 192 kilohertz. You have to understand that the higher the sample rate you use, the harder it's going to be on your system, on your computer. It's going to take way more processing out of your computer when you're working with a higher sample rate. Now, in today's sound interfaces, we have like several choices of sample rates. We have 44.1, which is the standard for CD. We have 48, which is standard for film. We have 88.2, 96, 176.4, and 192. So these sample rates are available on most audio interfaces out there. But that doesn't mean that you need to select and to work with the highest sample rate, even if it's available on your interface. Okay, so in my opinion, there's no use to record and mix at 192 kilohertz. First of all, your computer is not going to support it because it doesn't right now, okay? And at 96, it's still going to be hard on your system, especially during mixing. In recording, working in 96 or 88.2, now that depends on the system you're working. It depends if you're working with direct monitoring or not, okay? But if you want to play safe, 48 or 44.1 is good enough. And working at 44.1 is not gonna lower the quality of your recording or your music, okay? Trust me on that. Let me explain you why. First, you need to understand that a human can hear a frequency range from 20 hertz to 20K, which is 20,000 hertz, okay? So the highest frequency we can hear, we can detect is 20K, okay? Which is like very, very high. And unless you're a young kid or you have like an exceptional, unreal hearing, you're going to be able to detect these frequencies. On my side, I'm 41 years old and I can hear up to 7.5K in my studio. So, you know, and this is pretty good, you know, for my age, because the older you get, the less high frequencies you're going to hear, okay? So this is the way it works with our hearing, us as humans. So now, the job of the interface, one of its job is to convert the analog signal into digital. So that's why interfaces have some converters into them to convert the signal from analog to digital. And they used a sample rate to do so. So the sample rate is basically the amount of samples per second to reproduce the frequency or the wave in digital, from analog to digital. So for a second, depending on the frequency, you have X amount of cycles of a frequency within the second. And within that second, depending on the sample rate, at 41.1, for example, you're going to get 44,100 samples within that second, okay? And a high frequency is going to be shorter and faster than a lower frequency. So that means that within that second, there's going to be way more high frequency cycles than at a lower frequency where we're going to get less cycles per second. at a lower frequency. So that means that the sample rate, the 44,100 samples within that second is gonna be a bit more detailed, I would say, in a lower frequency to reproduce the waveform, opposed to a higher frequency where there's more cycles, so less samples per cycles within that 1 second. So I hope that makes sense for you. But to be able to reproduce a frequency, the converter needs to sample that frequency at least twice every cycle. So to reproduce a 20K frequency, we need at least a minimum of 40K of sample rate. Now, the minimum we have on our interfaces is 44.1. So that means it can reproduce frequencies as high as 22,000 hertz or 22K. So this is plenty to reproduce the frequency range of human hearing. So that's why I'm saying you're not going to affect the quality of your sound when recording at 44.1. You're still going to get all the frequencies well represented between 20 hertz and 20K in your recording. And that's important, okay? A lot of records and a lot of famous albums have been recorded at 44.1. And when you bounce your master for CD duplication, the standard for CD is 44.1 anyways, and 16 bits. Now, the bit rate, that's different. This is for the dynamic range. So for this, stick to 24 bits when recording and mixing, and then for CD, you'll have no choice to downsize it to 16-bit for CD duplication. But as far as the sample rate goes, 44.1 is plenty to get some good quality recordings. So why do we have higher sample rates then? That is simple, just to get more samples per second to reproduce a frequency. So like I was saying earlier, at a higher frequency range, there's way more cycles within that 1 second. So if you choose a higher sample rate, let's say at 48K, you'll have a bit more samples per cycles. Now at 96 or 88.2, it's going to be double the samples, but it means more processing to process this sample rate, okay, off your computer. So this, you need to put that in the balance and evaluate if the trade-off is good enough for you. Now, are you going to notice a difference between a 96K recording and a 44.1 recording? Maybe. If you have good hearing in the high end of the spectrum, you might notice a bit of a difference up there, but not that much. The difference is very, very subtle. So that's why the sample rate, in my opinion, is way down in my priority list. Okay, so I would suggest you to focus more on music arrangements, on composition, songwriting, performance, recording quality, mixing, mastering, all these aspects that will affect way more the end result of your music than the sample rate. So that's my take on this. Now on my side, I do most of my mixing at 48 kilohertz, which is standard for film. I like to mix at 48. If I have a project that is at 44.1, I just mix at 44.1. Sometimes I record at 44.1. Just due to the fact that I just forget setting everything up to 48, but I don't mind that. I'm just going to continue and mix at 44.1. I don't mind. As far as I have good music to mix, that's what counts for me anyways. Now, sometimes I do some recording at 96 to capture a higher sample rate for recording only, but I downsample everything at 48 afterwards to mix. So this is the way I work, but most of the time I do all of my work in 48. So that's my take on it, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please leave all of them down below in the comment section, and don't forget to share and to like this video if you think the video was helpful for you. Again, if you're new, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and until next time, see you.